Welcome to the Advance Your Art podcast, where we talk about the journey from artist to entrepreneur and everything in between. You've worked hard to hone your craft. Now take it to the next level with tips, techniques, strategies, and routines used by successful artists to grow their businesses and careers. Now, let's get started and have some fun with your host, Yuri Cataldo.
Shannon, hello. Welcome to the show. How are you this afternoon?
Hi, I'm doing fairly well myself. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's finally warming up in Boston, and I'm very excited about that.
I know. I almost started sweating a little bit waiting outside this morning for my Uber to pick me up.
Yeah? Oh, nice.
Yeah. Direct sunlight will do that to you.
I was going to say, how have things in New York been this season?
It's really weird because it'll start warming up, but then it'll be really cloudy and gloomy all day. So, because it's threatening to rain. So today was actually quite gorgeous, and I'll probably go for a walk after this.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's keep going with that one. So, you have a very interesting background, and especially what you're doing now. But if somebody were to come up to you on the street today and ask you how you describe yourself and what you do, how would you answer that?
I would probably say, I would say, I am a software developer with a flair for the dramatic.
But not a dramatic software developer.
No. Okay. I do celebrate quite physically when I get my code to run, especially if it's particularly annoying. And when it's not running, it's a personal attack and I let everyone know. But I wouldn't say that I'm a dramatic software developer.
Although I sit by a lot of developers, and a lot of the times they have a very stoic type of expression on their face. So I think any type of expression may be more on the dramatic side. So it probably would be appreciated too.
Probably. I do bring a lot of life to any team that I'm on.
Excellent. So let's start then from the beginning part, because you're a classically trained actress. What first got you interested in acting?
What didn't? I actually started at the age of 2.5. I was the youngest student at this local dance studio. But I was potty trained, so I was allowed to join.
I like how that's, it makes sense. That's a good requirement to have.
I'm just going to say the theme of my life is that I learned quickly, and it started with the toilet. I was toilet trained at an early age, and they let me in. Okay, I like where this is going. So I always did that, and it was really cool because my mom sat through one performance. And from then on, she was always stage right, helping backstage, because she just was uninterested in watching the show. She wanted to be part of it, too. Mm-hmm. And actually, both of my parents got involved. So performing was always a huge aspect of my life. My mom says that when we went to, fairs or, Disneyland, she'd have to hold on to me because I would try to, jump in and join parades and stuff. But when I was in high school and I'm a junior and everyone's applying for colleges and stuff, and I was trying to really think, what do I was very idealistic, and I was like, money doesn't matter at all. It's all about happiness. Mm-hmm. Which to a degree, yes, but when you don't have money, it is trickier to figure and navigate the whole happiness thing. But anyway, I digress. I did really well in a couple subjects in school, but it all seemed like it would be a boring lifestyle. I honestly had no idea what actual careers were like, so everything was an office job, and it all sounded terrible. So I decided to be an actor, and I went to a local state school because I was going to be an actor, and I didn't want to take on a lot of debt.
Okay.
And it was something that didn't come to me as naturally as academia.
Okay.
Like in that, I was a good dancer, but I was always like when I did like musical theater or like performances, I was always a actor, like a dancer who could act, and I'd always get like featured dancing roles, but I didn't get to act as much, and I think that gave me like a huge underdog feeling. And then in my dance classes, it started turning into I was the dancer who could act, so I got all the acting heavy and less dancing heavy roles. Mm-hmm. So it was like incredibly frustrating on both sides. But I was like, I'm going to pick one, I'm going to stick to it. And in the acting world, I always felt like an underdog. And I think there was like a huge motivation for me to like get good at it because I thought no one believes in me. So I'm going to prove them all wrong. Mm-hmm. And I genuinely loved acting. And when I moved to New York, cause I thought I would do theater, and one of the first classes I took was, at a networking studio, cause that's like the only way for a lot of actors to meet people who can actually give them jobs. Mm-hmm. So I paid to go to a networking studio and I actually got, more attention from the film directors, and they said, like, you look great on camera and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, oh, great. Then I'm a film actor because that pays better anyway. It's less of a time commitment and it pays better. That's and true. So I started studying full time. Well, and by full time, I mean like weekly and sometimes twice a week. Mm-hmm. But it felt like full time. At an on-camera studio in the city. And it was a really amazing studio. It was huge for LGBT actors, although when I joined, I had no idea. I wasn't very in touch with myself, but like, and it's not exclusive, but there was like, the instructor there, Brad Caldara, had felt a need for a space for LGBT actors to really delve into that aspect of their life. So he'd make classes geared towards that. And then also just regular acting classes. And working with him, he was very good at like, he could tell when you were dancing around something or like when you weren't talking about the real issue. Mm-hmm. I remember one time we were doing a warm up and he's like, stop. He's like, what is your pain with food? And I like immediately started weeping. It was like he hit the one spot where I just like broke down crying. He knew what people weren't telling, but was a huge motivation behind who they are or why they're making the decisions and whether it's healthy or not for them. And so working in that aspect as an actor, I really started looking into myself a lot. And it's part of the reason why I was able to come out to myself, much less the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. Cause I'd never even thought of that. I was just like, I'd grown up such a people pleaser that I rarely thought to stop and think, what do I want? And so that went on to translate in my life. I was pursuing a career as an actor. I was part of the union, but it's such a cutthroat industry. And like I would book, if I was lucky, 2 or 3 like actual acting things a year. And then I had to supplement myself by like being a background actor or being a stand-in for, on sets, which is like you're never on camera. You stand in when the actors have to like when they're like changing the lights or they're changing the camera angle, and so the actors who actually say the lines can like go get a snack from craft services, and you stand there so that they can focus the lights on you.
Sure. Like a living prop.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, background acting and standing, it's all props that move.
Right.
But you're paid a living wage when you can book that as well. It's very seasonal. So I was also serving, and I, was like living with multiple roommates, and I was always scared to go on vacation because, one, did I know that I would work enough to continue to pay my bills if I did that? Also, what if an opportunity came up that I couldn't take, and all of that stuff. And I was really lucky. My girlfriend, she would never do it really. She was never rude about it, but it was just, she would notice, like, if I came back from visiting my family, I'd be kind of in this weird headspace for a while. And so she started asking me, like, do you want to go back home? Do you want to, like, what is it? Because I'm from California. I don't know if I established that before. So she was just like, is it that, like, what's going on? And she dropped to me very kindly once, like, maybe you're not happy being an actor. And like at first I was like, no, how can you say that? Like, I love acting. Like, I'm a struggling artist. Like, this is how the game is. Like, you just have to survive, like, for your whole life. It's just gotta keep going, and then maybe one day. And she was just like, okay, I'm not like fighting you, and I'm not like saying that you're wrong, like, and I'm supporting you no matter what. I just was wondering, maybe that's what it is. But then one day I was like home, and I like woke up, and I was just like, it was April of last year, and I said, I don't like my life. Like, on a day to day, like, this is not what I wanted. Like, I want my own kitchen with my own cooking supplies where, like, people aren't going to break it, It's just me.
Just small things like that.
Like, small little things, like, and yeah, it was just all kind of, like, I want to be able to keep my stuff, like, in the entire apartment and not just, like, all in my little room and stuff like that. And go on vacation. Like, and I want to, like, eat brunch instead of serve brunch. Like, that would be really nice. That would be really, really sweet. So, I was like, all right, so if I go back to school, what can I do? Like, I mean, I had all these different skill sets, but I'd be like starting over, and I'd have to get accepted into a school. It might not be in New York. Like, I might have to like relocate, and there's all that debt, and that's, 2 to 4 years of extra studying, and like, what would I even do? Like, take on that debt? It's not a guarantee to have a job from that. I was like,
wait, so also in this moment, was going back to school to get your MFA and then pursue what a lot of other artists and do, which is like become a professor, and so that you can support yourself with your professor job and then also act on the side. Was that something you were thinking about or contemplating, or you're like, no, I'm definitely done with this business?
So that was something that I used to think about, and something that like my mom was always like, well, what about getting an MFA so that you can like have a steady job? I used to think about that, but see, the thing is like, even if you have an MFA, you could teach, but like to get you usually have to have a career also to back that. Not that I didn't have like a terrible career, but like there's so much luck involved just in even booking things, so that you have an impressive resume. And like, to be in a position where you can afford to do that, it was just not something that that you could be that available to audition for that many things, or like drop whatever you're doing and go do that. Like, I was never financially in a position where that was an option. I always had to weigh the risks of everything that I was doing, and how much it would cost me. So when I decided to go back to school, it was like a career change. Like, okay, if I'm going to start over at the age of, I want to say 30. I've been saying 30 for a year. The fact is I don't turn 30 until July, but I like never wanted to go through that like freak out of like, oh my God, I'm 30. So I just kept saying I was 30 for like the entire year of 29.
Nice. That's one way to approach it. I haven't really heard too many people jump forward, but hey, if that works, that works.
It's a great excuse when your friends are like, hey, you want to do this event? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, great, we're starting at 10. I was like, I'm 30. Shannon, you're 29. I don't care. I'm 30.
So that means that you're in bed by 10? Is that what that means?
No, but I wanted to at least have my pajamas on. I'm able to have plenty of fun before 9 o'clock. It's a possibility that you can have fun before 9 o'clock. I'm just putting it out there. Right. I know it's scandalous, but
I like to have my fun in the late evening, and
yeah, I know. I'm pushing the limit here, but that's what artists do. So
exactly, living on the edge of the fun times. Definitely.
But
so wait, yeah. So I'm fascinated with the fact that you woke up like one morning and then suddenly had this like, I need a change, and the change has to be me right now. Was there something that happened the night before, or was just